Hi there, I'm Annie Casino, founder of recoverfromemotionalabuse.com, and in this video I want to talk to you about the top 10 ways that women make sure that an abusive man won't leave them alone even if the relationship has allegedly ended. And the first way is to answer his texts. Sure, he sent you a text because he wants an answer, and if he's halfway good at being an abusive man, he knows exactly which buttons to press at any time. But that doesn't mean you should answer him. Does he bother to answer your texts if it's not urgent to him, if it doesn't seem important to him? I very much doubt it. When you answer his texts, what does it tell him? It tells him that he still has power and control over you, that he can still control your reactions. That's a very poor message to be giving. Mistake number 2. You try very hard to have the last word. Now, if you've been in an abusive relationship, you'll know that your abusive partner always has to have the last word. And it's very, very hard to accept that. You really want to be heard. But here's the thing. Trying to have the last word will never work. It never has. He is much more powerful in the relationship than you will ever be. And he is not going to let you take that power away from him by giving you the last word. You have to accept that your last word will go unspoken as far as he's concerned, and that's okay. You really can learn to live with that. Mistake number 3. Keep shouting louder in the hope of finally getting heard. He hasn't listened to you, he hasn't listened to you, he hasn't listened to you. There is a message there, and the message is that he's actually not listening. So there's no point continuing. But in your own mind, you think that if you just put it eloquently enough and shout loud enough and make the point forcefully enough, he'll finally listen. No, he won't. He won't listen to your words, but he will listen to the underlying message. And the underlying message is that his opinion is still very important to you. That message reminds him that he still has a lot of leverage with you. That's not helpful to you at all. Mistake number 4. Keep challenging what is. Yes, it's really painful when an abusive relationship ends. You did not get what you wanted from that relationship, and you would have loved that relationship to be other than it is. But here's the thing. It didn't happen, and it's not going to happen. It's an abusive relationship. It's given you a ton of misery. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop attracting more of the same misery from the same person into your life. He's perfectly happy with the way things are. He may say he's not. He may go into the sort of, I still love you, darling routine. But that's rubbish. It's fine for him that the relationship has ended the way it has. That's the reality. You can't fight reality and win. Better to let go now. Mistake number 5. You end the relationship because you know you have to, but you feel you owe it to him to try to explain your feelings to him and your motives. Now, why would you want to do that? He wasn't listening to you before, so why would he be listening to you now? Once again, he may listen, but he won't be listening to your words. He'll be listening to what it actually means for him. And what it means for him is that he still has a lot of leverage for you. As far as he's concerned, if you need to try and explain yourself and justify yourself to him, you are still in his power and control. Not a good message from your point of view. Mistake number 6. You tell him you still want to be his friend. Now, this is probably you trying to say, well, there was some value in the relationship and there is some good in him, and I'd really like to hold on to what I can, to salvage whatever I can from the relationship. And it's an understandable idea, but it's a very, very poor strategy. He was never your friend anyway. He did not treat you like a friend. He wasn't your friend then, so why would he be your friend now? But of course, if you say, can we still be friends? Chances are he'll say yeah. And you know why? Because it gives him a lot of leverage. It lets him know that you're still open to being used and abused by him whenever he feels like it. Mistake number 7. You keep apologizing for what you're doing. Why do you have to apologize to a man who does not apologize to you? Who feels little or no genuine remorse for the way he's treated with you? Doing that, once again, simply tells him that he still has the power and control over you that he enjoys. So he can still pick you up and press your buttons whenever he wants to. Mistake number 8. You tell him that you still love him. Why does that matter to him? And do you really still love him? You know he's made your life a misery. Do you really love someone who's made your life a misery? Or are you just focusing on the dream of what could have been, the fantasy that you love, but ain't the reality, is it? The time has come to start loving yourself and telling yourself that you love yourself, not him. Mistake number 9. Being there for him when he needs you. Because he probably will, won't he? He's not very continent of emotion. When things are tough for him, he needs someone to carry him, and he's worked out that you're pretty good at that. So, if you say you'll still be there for him, he'll use you. That's fine. However, will he be there for you in return? You already know the answer to that, don't you? He's never been there for you in the past. The more you've needed him, actually, the less he's been there for you. And why do you think he's going to change now? And mistake number 10. You keep the lines of communication open. Just in case. Just in case what? Just in case he has a personality transplant. Just in case his fairy godmother beats him over the head with her magic wand long enough to get some sense into his head. That's not going to happen. Keeping the lines of communication open just in case to him means that he can give it another try when he wants. He knows he still has leverage with you, and he knows that he can still use you. When you finish a relationship with an abusive man, you have a responsibility to yourself to make that decision stick. You will not do that if you have contact with him. You know he'll wear you down. Don't have contact with him. The best way to get over an abusive relationship is to end all communication and cut him out of your life every way you possibly can. This may not be the most cheering video you'll ever watch, but trust me, it's a really, really useful one. Bye for now.